Hey guys, Alex here from TitanBearGaming.com, at TitanBearGaming at social media. I'm continuing to go through Matt Mercer's custom-written class, the Blood Hunter. This is available on the dmsguild.com website. It's a pay what you want, so you can pay whatever you'd like to pick up a copy of it, but it's very cool. Reminder, the reason why we're going through this is because one of Matt Mercer's players on the new Critical Role campaign that was just started last week, Taliesin, is playing a Blood Hunter, so I figured I would go through it and help educate the Critical Role audience of what kinds of powers Taliesin's going to be able to do. Now, in the previous video, I went through the base character class, all the stuff that every Blood Hunter gets. Now I'm going through the archetypes, what kind of selection you have to make for your different character archetypes. They call them in this one the Blood Hunter orders, and what kind of powers does it get you. In this first one is the Order of the Ghostslayer. This one, from a thematic element, focuses on neutralizing and eliminating undeath from the world around it. From a thematic perspective, the characters are claimed to have kind of an obsessive preoccupation with undeath and the transition between life and death. Very Raven Queenie. But you're very heavily centered on fighting undead, removing undead, and even a little bit channeling undead in it. It's a big thing for your Blood Hunter. As a thematic aspect, you become a little bit of what you're trying to hunt so that you can hunt it more effectively. So anyway, Order of the Ghostslayer. The first thing that you pick up is Rite of the Dawn at 3rd level. You get a new rite. This is a new one of your blood rites, just the same thing as you sacrifice a little bit of your hit points equal to your character level and damage, and then you add some kind of elemental-based damage to your weapon attacks. You light your sword on fire, do frost damage, lightning damage, etc. In this case, you get a new one called Rite of the Dawn, which makes it so that your rite damage is radiant type, which can be really big, especially when you're fighting against an undead or certain kinds of fiends or whatever else. Further, if you hit an undead creature with your Rite of the Dawn, that undead creature suffers additional radiant damage equal to your wisdom modifier. So you're really good at pummeling down undead creatures in kind of a different way than a normal channel divinity likes to do it. So this is kind of fun. When you reach 11th level, any creature you hit with your Rite of the Dawn also suffers the additional radiant damage, so you get that nice little steroid bump to your damage output once you get to the midpoint of the game at level 11. At 7th level, you pick up Hallowed Veins, which is a nice one. It gives you the ability to cast your Blood Curse, this is your Blood Maledict, on any creature regardless of whether or not it has blood. This was a restriction for the Blood Malediction in the base class, where you had to be targeting a creature that actually has blood for the Blood Maledict to actually take effect. Since you are very anti-undead, and a whole bunch of undead in Dungeons & Dragons doesn't have blood, it makes a lot of sense thematically and mechanically that you'd be able to use this on undead creatures. So that's nice. Further, when you target an undead creature with a blood curse, they have to make a wisdom saving throw, or they're not able to attack you until the end of your next turn. So it gives you kind of a nice defensive element that you can just walk in and slug these creatures on down without fear of return. At 11th level, you pick up Supernal Surge. Yes, supernal is a word, and it's a wonderful use here. It's a really interesting power that actually harkens to the Plane Walker that the Ranger class picked up in Xanathar's Guide. Very cool. The way that this works is, when you take the attack action, you can make a weapon attack as a bonus action, and you temporarily become spectral. So you get an extra weapon attack out of it, and you kind of drop into this ethereal style thing. Now, it doesn't say that you go into the ethereal plane, but you yourself become spectral, giving you the ability to walk through objects or other people or whatever as if they're difficult terrain. Very similar to kind of the ethereal jump style thing that we get from Xanathar's Guide. There's the usual thing for if you try to end your turn in the space of another creature or an object or whatever, you take some damage for it, and that's all well and good. But the more important piece is that you could otherwise do this spectral movement without having to make a weapon attack if you just do it as a bonus action. So that way, if you wanted to do this to lead up to your attack, then you could do so, and that would be a perfectly legitimate use of this ability. You get to use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you recover them all on a short rest. So if you have this power, if you're going for the Order of the Ghostslayer, you're going to be able to do this a lot, 2 or 3 times every single combat. So it's a pretty cool thing that's going to fundamentally change the way that your character perceives their movement in the game, both in terms of combat as well as out of combat. I could see this as being a very thematically rich thing for how you might want to roleplay your character. At 15th level, you pick up Grave Sight, which gives you the ability to see in magical darkness up to 30 feet. Helps you channel the undead-y style and Hunter of the Dark kind of thing, and gives you a fairly unique power. There's not a whole lot of other powers in the game that let you see in magical darkness, so I like that one here. Further, you can see invisible creatures and objects up to 30 feet away, so you get kind of this cool sight beyond the grave kind of power that I think is very fitting here. At 18th level, you pick up the last power that you have here as the Order of the Ghostslayer, which is called the Vengeful Spirit. It's another one of these, when you die, you instead get to take some additional actions kind of thing that we see so prominently showing up now in a lot of the more recent releases for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition class options. The way that this works is, when you drop to 0, you can choose to let your soul emerge from your body to fight on, in kind of a Doctor Strange going into the astral plane kind of thing. This spirit form picks up your weapons, picks up your armor, and basically gets to act as you, continuing to take attacks and actions. You have access to all of your abilities and suffers no damage from your Crimson Right feature, because if your spirit form takes a shot, it vanishes. It goes away, right? If you take any damage in your spirit form, it goes away. Further, if your body dies, you continue to roll your death saves as usual, so it doesn't save you from the concept of death. If your body dies, if you regain any hit points to be stabilized again, or if your spirit form takes any damage, your spirit form vanishes, and that's cool. You drop all your stuff in that spot. So if you do that, your character will then have to go stand up, run and pick up his equipment to put it back on or whatever, but you know, you get this power at 18th level, and it's a kind of cool one. So that's the Order of the Ghostslayer. Of the 3 Bloodhunter orders, it's the simplest of the 3, but you get a lot of really cool powers for it. I like the anti-undeath thing. I like the way that it's channeled. I also like the ways that your character starts to become a little bit undead yourself. I think that, like I said before, for the Supernal Surge thing, this is your ability to kind of move ethereally across the battlefield. If you're going to be playing this character from a roleplay perspective, I really highly recommend getting down with that power, right? Channel that power, think about that power. Your character can do this the number of times equal to your wisdom modifier every short rest, which means if you're going downstairs to get yourself a sandwich, you could do this. You could do it 3 times every hour, effectively, depending on how often you're going to be taking a short rest in terms of your adventuring life goes. Think about it. I think that it can make for some really fun and unique roleplay opportunities. I like that one in here. I like the Order of the Ghostslayer in general. It's the simplest of the 3, so if you don't want to deal with the additional complexity of the other 2 archetypes, go with this one. There's a lot to like. We'll see if Talison's going to do it. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you're already playing the Order of the Ghostslayer and what kind of effects you found from it, whether or not you thought it was a fun, cool thing to be doing. Come talk to me over on social media at Titan Bear Gaming. Like the video, share with your friends, let them know if you think this video is nice, if you think this video is good. I'm going to continue going on to the other archetypes right now, so go ahead and look forward to those. I'll see you next time. Until then, have more fun, would you? It's good for you.